Testing, how's that? Better? Can you hear me now? There we go. Cool. Good. So, as I was saying, hold on. Hang on. Oh, that'll do. I think that'll do. Can you hear the music as well? I don't know if you can hear the music as well. But anyway, try that again. Hello and welcome back to Question Time, our live stream where we answer your questions about game dev, Unreal Engine, or anything you really want to know about at all, really. All you got to do is put your question in the chat. I'm trying to grab as many questions as I can within the hour that we're here. If I do miss a question, don't fret, just put it back in the chat and I'll try and catch it again next time. Now, I think this is the first time I've live streamed with this new office orientation. No music. Oh, solid. I think it's the first time I've done live stream with this current orientation. So basically we are fixing the office, we turn the office around. So it looks a bit bare in the background, but that will hopefully change within a few weeks. I'm trying to work out how I can add the background music. It's not a big deal, but you know. But you get sick and tired of my voice. Add source. I'll turn that down. It's down there. It's still here. It's still here. I need to just pick it up. Yeah, we've also got to put some soundproofing in here too, and there's other things to take care of. But anyway, enough about that. We're back now, and I last week was at GDC, so I'm happy to answer any questions about GDC. We did do like sort of almost daily vlogs, but it was very exhausting, so I didn't do it every single day I wanted to. But happy to answer any questions. Basically, the whole week was meeting with publishers for Mimic. It's all for Mimic. Meeting with publishers, potential investors, and marketing agencies who are interested in supporting the game and working with us. Long story short, everyone's really excited for it. Everyone sees really strong potential in it and really believe it could go somewhere. So there was no real notes really to take away in terms of like to improve it or make it better or stronger in that sense. Everything we planned and were pitching was fine. The biggest publisher I spoke to was probably Capcom. But for the most part, it was mostly like indie specialist studios and publishers who are interested in indie games. So, yeah. But yeah, that's it basically. And obviously meeting fans of the channel and other game devs just hanging out. It was pretty good. So let's answer some questions. On Discord, our Patreon members can actually ask their questions ahead of time. And so let's take a look at a couple of questions we've got up here. So from Iron Thumbs, he's got a question. Is there a good way to stop and reverse an attack montage when your attack gets blocked? Terminate the recoil of your sword swing bouncing off an enemy shield, for example. I mean, you could just play the animation in reverse, but I'd recommend against that. And instead do your own separate animation for a recoil from bounce back. It'll just look weird doing it as just a reverse thing. It'll just look odd. Also, is there a clean way to stop the enemy being able to stand so close to the player? Making a first-person metagame, an enemy can stand far too close to the player currently. Experiment with making the capsule on the player enemy larger, but it needs to be extremely big to make a difference. And that introduces other problems with navigation. So if your enemies are standing too close to the player, one, that could be because of your navigation. Not navigation, like AI move to type thing. So when you tell AI to move, you have to give them a distance, what they deem acceptable. Just increase that. By default, it's 5, so it's really, really tight, and they're going to come up really close to you. Expand it out, so it's a little bit wider and a little bit out there. Likewise, if you were the one that closes the gap and stands too close to them, you can do a check then to see whether or not within a certain range and make them step away. So I mean, we could do a quick test here. Actually, in here, let me just quickly put in a nav mesh. And I can show you what I mean. So let's create a new character. And hopefully it won't take too long. I'm going to skip a few steps, but hopefully you get the gist of it. Okay. And I hate that I have to, every time I make an NPC and you want to use this animation graph, I have to go in and take this and turn this on. This current acceleration only comes from the character movement component, which is handled by the player input. So that only gets from player input. So an AI don't get nothing. So just tick it on. And then be fine. And then we're going to have... we'll do a very simple behavior tree. And select sequence. Okay, so in here we're going to tell them to move to, and we'll tell them to move to the player character. Actually, rather than doing that, I'll just do a new task. Chase player. Might have to open the window. It's getting really hot in here. Okay, so when you're doing this, I'm just doing this because it makes it a little bit quicker. So I can answer more questions, but just doing a very simple AI move too. So what I mentioned before about the acceptance radius, that's this. So you want them to not get too close, you increase that. So let's say like 100, like that. And on success here, we'll do finish, execute, and tick success. Right, and turn that one off. And that's all we have to do for that. And then in here, we'll just call chase player. Yeah, so we do that. Oh. Whoops, I put that all in the wrong place, but never mind. And then begin play in here. I'm just going to get the AI controller for this. Get AI controller. Self. And then run behavior tree. And choose that behavior. Okay. So if I drag that into my scene now, And why you're not playing? It may be, yeah, he hasn't been possessed yet, so I'm going to change that from begin play to possessed. It could be that, so just do that. No, what's going on? Just make sure there's a setting in here that the AI controller is been set and auto possessed AI placed in world. Yeah, that's right. So why are you not doing this? Add breakpoint. Yep, it's doing it. Definitely got nav mesh. Yeah, nav mesh. No, I got nav mesh. Don't mess up the behavior. Chase player. Controlled pawn. Oh, didn't give it a blade destination, did I? So, get player character. There we go. That usually helps if you tell it where to go. Right, there we go. So he'll stop within 100 units away from me, and if I get away, he'll come closer. But the thing that this doesn't account for is if you get closer to him, he won't like step back. So if you want him to step back on the behavior tree, you want him to only chase the player if the decorator for this is at location. We'll do 100. And I need to give it that Blackboard, don't I? Poop. I'll do my own one. Oh no, I'll do it properly. I'll do it properly. I could take a shortcut, but we'll do it. And we'll just set that up to use our Blackboard. Behavior tree, yep, works for side scroller, yep, no problem. Yeah. Blackboard, object, target actor. Done. Right, back on here then. So decorator for this sequence is at location. And I'm going to check to see if target actor is outside of that location. So you have to tick inverse. It means it only chases if we're outside that location. If that's not the case, that means we're inside the location. It then should go and do this bit instead. And when it's doing this bit, then we need to take it to move backwards if we get too close. So in that case, we're going to make another task. And we'll call it find space. Execute AI. And in here, we're going to get the Blackboard. Get Blackboard value as actor. Make a key. Target actor. And we're going to get the direction, actor location first, of that, and of the controlled pawn, and we get direction. And we get direction from the player character to the controlled actor. And this gives me which way I should move backwards. Okay, that's what we're going to do, move backwards. So do that, and I'm going to tell it to do AI move to. Pawn goes there, and the destination will be our actor location plus this multiplied by a distance. So we're going to multiply to float. And we'll do 100. Put that in there. Put that in there. And don't forget, always put in your finish executes as well. So back on this sequence here, we'll do find space. Okay, so if it means if we're not at that, if we are too close to the character, it will move. It will do this one. We might have to change the radius of this because I can't remember if it's inclusive or not. So if I say if it's within 120, it'll do that. Okay. That should be right, unless I've done it the wrong way around. Let me just put this on the other screen for a second, so I can see it executing. Selector, that should be failing. 200. If we are not, if we are within. No, we've got it wrong. If I'm not within 200 units, chase the player. Otherwise, it should do this. That should be right. Yeah, why is that doing weird things? Why is that playing like that? Let's do that. It shouldn't make any difference, but okay. Let's make it smaller than 100 then. Yeah, that should be doing that. That should be failing and going there. Well, if not, I can also do like this. I can put it on that way and just put this side. Like that. And change that from inverse, like that. Oh, because I didn't set a target actor, that's why. Nope, I know why. That's exactly why the case. Silly me. I'm hot. I'm going to blame it on that. I might open the window, I think. Right, let's just set a target actor. NPC. Get Blackboard. Set key. I'll set value as object. Make. Target actor. Get player character. If this works, my reward will be opening the window. No. I did turn it back on. Let me just check that again. Yeah, no. Why is that not working? Double check the target actor has actually been set. No, it isn't. Target actor is set to none. Did I spell it wrong? No, it's there. I'm going to hazard a guess. The Blackboard hasn't been created yet. So I'm going to put a little delay in here. And just make sure that's not the root of it. There you go. Right. Yeah, there you go. It's because it was spawning in the... I hadn't finished spawning in the Blackboard. So, yeah, I need to change this now to be back to 120 as I had it originally. And do that. No. Find space times 150. Actually, no, times 80 will do. I'm gonna open the window. Way too damn hot. Can you tell an AI to run a different behavior tree? Yeah, you can. You just do run behavior tree again. Why is that doing that? Yeah. There's to be like a band that is in, and it's just a matter of working out the number. So he's going to chase the player until he reaches 100 units. Therefore, I only want him to come at me if he is greater than, say, 200 away, for example. If he's greater than 200 away, I think it's just that needs to be larger. Then, because that makes sense in my head. No, still getting too far. Let's change that to 300. Make sure that is not the issue. It shouldn't be triggering it. That's the thing when he's like gets to. Oh, okay. Right, yeah. It's because he's doing this. I need to put is that location on here. He's doing it twice, so I need to do is that location. And if we are not within, no. If we are within 200 units, do that. Still doing it. Do you think Verse will replace C++ in Unreal Engine? No. No, not at all. Why? This is really annoying me now. Oh, wait, then do the Blackboard key to this. Bollocks. Right, change back to 300. Oh no, this one needs to be lower. So. I don't get why it's doing that nonsense. 100. There we go. And if I move further away, right, there we go. If I get closer, he moves. There we go. That's it. There we go. So, yeah, it was literally because I just didn't have the right number in. You have to make the band, so it's 200 and then 100. So in that range of 100 to 200, he won't do anything. Next question we'll take from the chat here. Why do people make a custom player controller? I was watching multiple ways people have made inventories, and some make the toggle inventory function in a custom player controller. Okay, so two real questions there. So one, why do you make a custom player controller? So the reason why you'd make a custom player controller is because by default you have a player controller. Okay, you always do. You have the default built-in one. But chances are you want to edit it and change things about it, like giving it new functionality, like toggling open inventory. So in that case, you need to make your own custom player controller. In most cases, it's always a good idea to make your own custom versions of the pre-built-in classes, just because it gives you far more control over it. So there's that. The second question is, why do they put toggle inventory in the player controller? It's more of a way of thinking, really. So do you want the inventory to belong to the character or to the player? So some people will put inventory component on and inventory stuff on the player controller, where some may do it on their actual character. Ultimately, not a big difference, unless your game design is a bit special, but it should be fairly straightforward. They were bragging about Verse a lot in Epic, though. Yeah, they were. It is not. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's just not. I don't see what it fulfills. So, for example, people who like blueprinting, great, make stuff in blueprints. Verse does not have the same flexibility as blueprinting does. But if you wanted to code, why not just do it in C++? So it's very. I don't know what niche it's filling. Yeah, so I'm very confused about what their plan is for that. Um, Vinny, how would you advise on having AI prioritize coordinate attacks on co-op local two players, like getting angrier at who attacked them? So I've actually covered something similar to this, and this is the fight manager sort of system that I've covered in like third-person combat. It's exactly the same system as that, except that you have an extra condition where you look at who's been damaged, who's damaged you the most, and you sort of keep a tally, and you keep a track of like your aggro. AI is aggro towards people. But yeah. Can you explain simply how Blackboard and behavior tree work together? Yeah, sure. So a behavior tree. So the Blackboard solves an inherent problem about behavior trees and any tree-like system. The problem with a tree-like system is that you can't guarantee every single time which one it's going to do next. Okay? Because it's going to change. It's conditional. Yeah, it's not like other code. You can preempt and understand when stuff's meant to happen. It's quite sequential. But this, not necessarily. And the way these sort of work these are like almost own compartmentalized little tasks. So the way I've always described it to people is imagine the computer is a person, and that person goes into a room. They are in that room doing something, and only one person can be in the room at this time. Okay, that's the computer. It can only be in one thing at one time, one task at one time. So it's in this room working stuff out. It wants to communicate what it's solved and what it's figured out to something else or somebody else, but it can't do that because only one person can be in the room at the same time. So what does it do? It picks up some chalk and writes on the blackboard a bit of code, a bit of a value. So then they leave the room. So when the next thing comes in, it then looks at the blackboard and can see the code on the value on the blackboard. And so it's a way of communicating between different tasks that aren't sequentially running in together. They are individual separate bits of code that are running in their own sort of world. And the same for here. Okay? And that's actually what it is. Animator Alex, world partition, composition, direct level streaming. Which of these are worth utilizing for open area of 2 square kilometers ish? Is one more predominantly supported for 5.3 and 4? World partitioning. Yep, and that's your answer to that. And in that same sort of breath, Western World Studio is asking, can you summarize the difference between world partition, level streaming, and level instance? Yeah, I can try. So, world partitioning is the new thing they brought into Unreal 5. The main thing this solves is working on large environments simultaneously with other people, but also auto-level streams in what's valid and what's not valid. So the best way to think about world partitioning is that it splits the world up into a grid. Okay, so here's a level doing stuff. Okay, and it breaks it into a grid and it loads grids in based upon where the player is at any moment in that. And it's all automatic. Okay, it does it all for you. So it's really, really nice and easy to use. The big difference, though, it helps is because it loads in these things sequentially, it means you can work in the same map file as long as you're not in the same loaded area. So on that same train of thought, level instances allow you to compartmentalize levels further. So you can put, say, like we've got this section here. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Imagine like this is a building, like a gas station or something in the map. Okay, and I'm gonna make this a level instance. Okay, gas station. Okay, so we're making like a GTA sort of city. But there's a gas station, and I can see the gas station in my world as I'm editing. But another level designer can also go in and edit this gas station at the same time. And so they'd go into it and edit this thing, and it will look like this. And they can manipulate it. So they would go in here, change things about it, be like, yep, I've done my work today, that's great, exit, yes. And what will happen is that this will now propagate through the whole entire map, and you'll see those changes everywhere. So it just makes things a little bit more organized and easier to manage as you are placing these things in there. Another benefit these things have is you can also make them packed level actors. So down here you've got packed level actor, which is exactly the same, but imagine this has its own little level blueprint, so you can give it some logic as well. So depending on what you want to do, you can pick one or two options. And if you really wanted to get it out of there and undo that, you can go to level here and do break, and you just break level instances. Yep. And there you go, it's now separate pieces again. Okay. Is enhanced input working with common UI in 5.4? Getting these two to work in 5.2 seems a bit of a gut punch. I'm not too sure. I haven't actually tested that out, so I can't really handle that. Yeah, I know there's another Discord question. It's fine. We'll go back to it. Okay, let's go back to it now. So Rusty's got a question in the Discord chat as well for Patreon members. Hope you had fun at GTC. I did. Very tiring, but I did. I would like to create a system that spawns a random room at a specific location that unloads the previous room when the player walks into the next one. I'm thinking of using level streaming, but maybe there's another way. The rooms won't be procedural, but selected from a bunch of already made levels. Thank you for your great videos. Okay. Okay, let's try and make that. So, let's make it, call it rooms. So the thing with this is you need to be very, very aware and organized of how you manage this. So you probably want to make a blueprint for the rooms. Okay, so let's just do a room parent and create a child of that, and we'll call it room A. And in here you would have in your meshes for your room. Okay. Oh. Do a very quick, rough thing for this. Obviously you can spend more time to make it more accurate, but I'll show you how to do it with like a staggered effect like this as well. So the main thing you need in here, once you've built all your assets, is you need the hooks of where things connect to. So we'll add in here a... we'll actually need to move all this. Whoops. There you go. And I want to make sure the root of the object is at one of those entrances. Like that. Okay, like that. I'm then going to make another scene component. And we'll put that at the edge of this one. Okay. And we'll probably want some sort of box collision as well. Like this, so we know when the player's in it and when they're not. In fact, I'll make it a bit smaller, like this. Okay, so in this, we also need to manage this thing. So you need something to look after the whole entire thing. So you can do it in the player controller, game mode, whatever you want. I'm just going to make a separate actor just to handle this. Room manager, we'll call it. And we'll say on event graph, begin play, spawn actor from class, and we just choose room A. And the spawn transform will be the same as our actor transform. Okay. And this will be the current room. So promote that to variable current room. Okay. Now, when we enter that room, that is going to be triggered by this box collision. So box, I'm going to right click on this, add event, begin overlap. If the other actor here is equal to the player character, put that into a branch. And if that's the case, I'm going to use an event dispatcher because I want to communicate back to the room manager about what the player is doing. So on room entered. Okay. And that'll be called on that. And then when I leave the box, end overlap. Again, we're going to check that it's the player character leaving the box. And we want to do on room exit. And call that there. Okay. So once we've got spawned the first room in, we need to bind this to the room exited. And we'll do custom event, leaving room. And when we're leaving room, we want to spawn another room in, but spawned at the active location of the socket that we've made in here, the scene socket in here. Let's change this here to socket. There you go. So we've got a bit of make a loop here. So rather than putting this on begin play, I'm going to make a custom event called spawn room. And that's going to spawn room A. The location of this room A will be current room. And we're going to get the socket from that current room. And we get the world transform from that. However, if the current room is not valid, I want to get the this actor transform instead. So let's just do that. So do current room is valid. Select transform. Put that in there. If it is true, we'll pick A. If it's not true, we'll pick that one. Okay. So spawn room will spawn room A into there. When we leave the room, we want to call spawn room again. Okay, and that'll go back round, do this again, and spawn it on and back, on and on and on. When we are leaving the room now, we need to unbind the previous room. So we're going to take the current room and do take that there. Do it first. Unbind room exited, or just do all. Yeah, unbind all events would be easier. Unbind all events from room exited. Okay. Next up is when we enter the room, we want to destroy the previous room. And we need to keep track of the previous room. So the previous room, when we spawn this one in, when we leave this room, is we're going to set the current room to the previous room. It's going to get very confusing. So this will be the previous room. Like that. Okay. Then back on here, I'm going to do bind event on room entered. And we're going to destroy entered room. And we're going to destroy the previous room. So, like that. Destroy vector. And that should be it, really. So it's obviously it's not random yet, but let's just put in room manager. And hit play. Oh, wait, I didn't actually call spawn room at the start. Whoops. Spawn room. There we go. So. Oh, I don't that side. Whoops. Let's turn it around. I'm going to get rid of the AI as well. It's going to get annoying. Okay. Oh, there you go. Ah! Hang on. I need to make the box smaller. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so it's creating and deleting room pretty much instantly. Why is that the case? Let's have a look. Room manager. Spawn room, current room, bind event room entered. Previous room. We only want to do this if this is valid, first of all. It's valid. On leaving the room, current room, unbind events from there, spawn room, and then previous room becomes equal to the current room. Oh, I need to put that other side. There you go. There we go. Right, start again. Yep, so there you go. I can now keep running and running and running. And what's nice about this sort of system is that is that the rooms could be any size. It'll just hook onto whatever socket you deem. So if I make another child of that, if I actually duplicate this, and we just edit this sort of size of this thing a little bit. Do that. No, right, fine. There we go. We'll just actually. Oop. So long as the entrance to the room, quote unquote entrance, is in the right place, i.e. the root, let me detach that and put this box, not box, socket over here. And I want to rotate it the right way. Like that. Yeah, so long as the socket's in the right place and all the rest of this is in the right place as well, with the root of the room being there, any entrance, we can make this now randomize on the room manager which rooms it's going to do. One thing I forgot to do though was put in the room here the socket. So scene component, socket, compile that, and that's going to cause problem here. Delete that. Just push that to the right place. There we go. Rotate that around. So there's loads of ways of doing this. This is just a quick way of doing it. And now I can get... This needs to be changed to room, the parent one. like that. Change. As does the previous room. Yeah. Boom. And we do make array. No. Oh, I need to random array. Make array. Oh, hello. Random array item. Reconnect that there. That there. Room A. Room B. Socket. Put that there. Just fix this up. Oh god, I forgot to put these in. Sodding hell. Okay, I won't do any more, but I meant to put those also on the parent class, not this one. But there you go. That's the general gist of it. That's annoying. Crap. Yeah. I need to put the box also on the parent. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah. Take that. Copy. Paste. Oh, that's not going to work. Yeah. That's that, really. I'd like to get it working so I can show you. On room entered, on room exited. Like that. Get rid of that. Box. I just resize this. Get rid of that box. Yeah. Back on room manager. Room. Yeah, with this, so it doesn't know what actor this is going to be. So you need to cast this to a room. And now you can connect it. And then we do room exited. Bind event. Room entered. Oh. And current room. Unbind events. All events from room exited. That'll go to there. And spawn room. That's correct. That's correct. Okay, I think that's all right now. Yep, there you go. Now it's spawning in the second type of room. And it's all like changed its orientation based upon the socket that I put in there and its rotation. And as you see, it's deleting the previous rooms as I traverse through. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Will you make any UEFN tutorials? We did actually start a long time ago when it first came out. I do want to get back into it. It's just timing at the moment. Lots of time issues to deal with. So yeah, wondering about. We'll see how we get on with that. is there a way to animate the tooltip widgets? I managed to animate it only once, but the animation won't reset the second time or hover over the same element. So, it depends on how you've done the animation and when you're calling it. But a tooltip widget is always created. It's just hidden and shown. It's not created on the fly. So you can always create your own custom tooltip widgets on the fly, but manually. But if you are using that widget, you can. I say it depends on how you've made it. You want to make a custom. If you make a custom widget for your tooltip, you can set up a thing to change based on its visibility. It will trigger an event dispatcher, which then you can make it animate when it gets shown. Yeah, it's hard to know without looking at what you've done so far. Do you know how to fix lumens flickering with lights and emissive materials? Not a lot. It's mostly because if you have multiple scene lights, that usually causes that problem. There are probably some settings. I'm not an expert at lumen lighting, so I can't say for certain, but I'm sure there are some quality settings you can tweak. Danuki, is there a way to make a typewriter effect for rich text that also supports coloured words and inline images? I don't think we'll have time to show the full thing, but I can show the gist of what you got to do. It's the same. I'll do it with text. It's basically exactly the same. But how would you? Yeah, I see the problem. Okay, so if you don't know how these effects work, usually what it does is you get the string that's being used here, and you do a loop through it every second or so, or however much time you want it to be, and make it render the next letter in the sequence. So, for example, in here, yeah, so in here you'd have a variable, which would be like the message. That'd be a string. And on the construct, we'll do a timer by event, custom event, display letter. That's spelled incompletely wrong, but never mind. We'll do 0.1 seconds on a loop. Promote to variable. And then on the letter, you take out the message, and the text here will make variable. And bring that out there. So I'm rushing through it because I'm running out of time. Set text on that. And the message. Oh, I forgot. You don't want to do that. You want to append the message with this. So you do append. And you append the message with the next character. So, not message. Text to display, we'll say here. Text display there, and we'll append the message by getting the character. Get character. No. Get index. No. Index. Can't remember what it is. I mean, you could just do get character array. You do that. Yeah, it's great. Do that, and then from there do get. And you've got two things you can do. You can either take the message and get 0 every time and just remove the first letter, or you can increment the index here. Depends on how destructive you want it to be. If you wanted to remove it from the index, it goes in there, then you just have to take the message and you chop, is it? Returns the rightmost characters, and then the count would be 1 every time. And it just chops it back to message there. Like that. So, if I was to put this on a screen, and we'll say the default message for this is, hello, this is a message. And I'll just do it with the manager here. So spawn, spawn, create widget. Choose the new widget blueprint, add to viewport, like that. Oh, it's wiping it every time. Message from thing. Pretty certain that's what it does. Returns a string from the right of the specified count and forward from the left at the beginning of the word. Count 1. Yeah, that should be right. Append. Text to display. Oh, whoops. I've got to actually put that there. My bad. There we go. So you should see the word print out like that. Yep. The difficulty that you're asking for, Danuki, is with rich text format. So the problem with rich text is that it usually has formatting, inline formatting. So I'm not entirely certain what you'd do for that. That's an interesting one to solve. You'd have to do a thing like a parser. But then no, that won't work because you'd have to... Short answer, not easy. Longer answer, I would have to do a video for and experiment with it myself. But I envision it would have to be a parser. So when you're when this gets a character, that's a special character, which would be like a symbol, like I think they use less than or greater than brackets. I think I can't remember now, but your special character you come up to, when you come to that, you then have to tell it to say, okay, so the next bit we're going to append it inside of this special character. But I'm not too sure how that would work. It's going to be complex. It's not going to be a simple thing like this. So yeah, I'd have to think about that. If I come up with a solution, I'll make a video on it. Brad Hurst, in your game, did you create separate managers for display, audio, etc.? I'm starting to get into the manager thing. I would like to decouple audio sound in its own manager. Kind of, yeah. So Mimic has a music manager, which handles what music should be playing at any one time. That makes life a little bit easier. And my display, like the HUD stuff, is all handled by the HUD class. So, yeah. Ilias's Crafts and Toys. Hi there, Ryan. Is it easier to make a PayPal transaction option on Unreal? I want to organise a higher score game contest. The way you'd have to do that is open a WebSocket and display like a web page in it. That's the only way you'd be able to do stuff like that. Of which you probably need a plugin to be able to do that. I don't think it's built into Unreal. I don't remember. I don't think it is. Web. Oh no, there's a web browser widget, so maybe, yeah, but yeah, it would be like in a browser window. That'd be the only way to do that. Riley, do you think the new motion matching system coming to 5.4 will replace the NMBPs? No. Motion matching is not a new thing. It's been used in lots of games. But no, it won't replace animation blueprints. it's just another tool to use. And that's the thing you got to remember, is like a lot of these things, they're never really replacing stuff. They're mostly just giving you another option. Like you can still use the old particle system, Cascade. You can still use that if you like. You don't have to use Lumen. You can still use backlighting if you want. So they're just more options to solve problems, and which is nice because it means you have more options, means you can have more outputs, which is great. That's what we want. But yeah. We're going to have to end it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming by asking questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to answer everyone's questions. There are quite a lot of them. But come by next week. We're doing more question time next week. And if you'd like to support the channel, head over to Patreon and support the channel over there. We've got videos coming out over there early before everyone else. Plus, you get to ask questions for your question time ahead of time in preparation for these live streams. We're back again live on Saturday, which will be a return to our retro remake for the point-and-click adventure game we're making of Day of the Tentacle type game. So we're returning to that on this Saturday, so tune in for that. Other than that, take care, have a good evening, and I'll speak to you all next time. Good night, everyone.